You finally meet someone who checks every box. The relationship feels secure, the communication is easy, and the future looks bright. But right when things feel perfect, the foundation fractures. You might manufacture a massive argument out of absolutely nothing. Or maybe you leave a text on read for hours, suddenly feeling suffocated by the exact same intimacy you were craving just days before. For decades, dating advice and popular psychology dismissed these patterns as a simple fear of commitment, or slapped them with the label of a toxic personality. Viewing these destructive actions as character flaws obscures the underlying mechanics. This is a biological hijacking, firing through the nervous system before the conscious brain even registers a problem. This hijacking frequently traps couples in a dynamic known as the anxious avoidant dance. It occurs when one partner's attempt to seek emotional closeness directly triggers the other partner's need for distance. As the avoidant partner pulls away, the anxious partner senses that distance. They panic and pursue harder to reestablish the connection. But that intensified pursuit only makes the avoidant partner feel trapped, causing them to withdraw even further. This push-pull loop is an automatic nervous system response. Both individuals are trying to protect themselves from a perceived threat, regardless of their conscious desire to be close. To understand why emotional closeness registers as a threat, we have to look past the late-night arguments. We have to look at core wounds, the invisible emotional blueprints forged by trauma or neglect during early childhood. If you grew up with inconsistent caregiving, you may have developed an anxious attachment style. The core wound here is the belief that I am not enough. To prevent the deep pain of abandonment, an adult with this wiring will over-pursue intimacy, desperately seeking proof that their partner isn't about to leave. Conversely, if your early emotional needs were rejected or punished, you likely developed an avoidant attachment. Your core wound says that love leads to pain, or others are unreliable. The moment someone gets too close, your defense mechanism triggers a preemptive emotional shutdown so you don't have to rely on anyone. As a helpless child, these adaptations kept you safe. They were highly effective survival strategies for navigating a difficult environment. The tragedy is that those exact same protective mechanisms are now dismantling your healthy adult relationships. When a romantic relationship gets serious, it crosses a hidden emotional threshold. For a dysregulated brain, that level of vulnerability physically registers as a mortal danger. In this cross-section of the human brain, crossing the intimacy threshold causes the amygdala to hyperactivate. This primal alarm blares and actively suppresses the prefrontal cortex, taking your rational thought processes entirely offline. For an avoidant partner, this leads to a complete physiological shutdown. Their vagus nerve fails to regulate the stress, leaving them entirely emotionally numb. When a couple spirals over unreturned calls or a need for space, they're expressing the internal instability of two dysregulated nervous systems struggling for safety. This biological hijacking also explains why toxic dynamics are so hard to leave. It comes down to intermittent reinforcement, a psychological loop where unpredictable affection creates a powerful chemical dependency. In this loop, the tension of an argument releases massive, jagged spikes of cortisol. But when you reconcile, your brain rewards you with a dopamine spike. In a secure relationship, without extreme fights, this chemical line remains smooth and steady. If you grew up associating love with anxiety, your nervous system processes that steady baseline as dull. Your brain has been tricked into believing that chemical chaos and panic are what passion is supposed to feel like. Fortunately, you are not permanently stuck with this wiring. Thanks to neuroplasticity, your brain has the ability to physically rewire these destructive neural pathways at any stage of life. Evidence-based therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy or emotionally focused therapy provide the tools to intercept this biological loop. They train you to catch the trigger before it turns into destructive behavior. The process starts by noticing the physical sensation of panic in your body. Instead of acting on it, you pause. That pause reactivates your prefrontal cortex. From there, you practice core wound reparenting, consciously reminding yourself that you are safe, worthy, and no longer in the past. Healing provides the capacity to override the automatic biological response. The initial urge to panic or withdraw might still surface, but it is met with the conscious ability to pause and choose a different path. The ultimate goal of this rewiring process is a state known as earned secure attachment. In this state, the old feelings of suffocation and abandonment begin to fade. Emotional connection no longer triggers an alarm system. It physically registers in your body as safety. You are not a permanent prisoner to your childhood wiring. By doing the work to pause, observe, and consciously choose a new response to old fears, you can stop the cycle of sabotage and finally build a love that lasts.